Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this Change Board webinar, How Can Data Help You Create the Ultimate Candidate Experience, in association with Broadbean. My name is Mary Appleton, and I'm Change Board's editor. We're delighted to be joined here today by Imad Paracha, who is Talent Marketing Manager at Tesco. He's going to talk about how the power of data and insights help to enhance their candidate experience. He'll be sharing how Tesco increased relevant applications by a third, how they improved ROI with accurate end-to-end analytics, and he'll also be sharing his insights on how personalizing content can improve both the employee and customer journey. Before we begin, I'd like to run through a few guidelines. Throughout the webinar, if you'd like to pose a question or a comment to Imad, please enter this in the box on the right-hand side of your screen and click send. We'll be taking questions after the presentation, but please do feel free to pose your question at any time, and we'll try and get through as many as we can. We'll also be running a live Twitter feed throughout the webinar, so be sure to credit your tweets with the hashtag CBData. That's hashtag CBData. We'll also be recording the webinar, so we'll send you a link to the full recording tomorrow. So in a moment, I'll hand over to Imad, who joined Tesco in 2014 as the Social Attraction Manager for Careers. Since joining Tesco, his contributions include auditing user experience, digital presence and media spend, improving end-to-end reporting, introducing tools and training to improve team productivity, running customer satisfaction surveys, creating bespoke attraction plans, and supporting website and ATS development, all focused towards better candidate experience. He now works as the Group Talent Marketing Manager, helping build strong foundations for talent attraction. So, over to you, Imad.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can see my slides. Thank you for the introduction, Mary. We're starting with recruitment data and candidate experience. Today, I will be sharing my experience of how we've used data at Tesco, and we have been striving to create from the better to the best candidate experience possible. In this regard, moving forward, what we've been trying to do as a company, what are we trying to achieve over here? So we are working to make things simpler and better for both our candidates and our colleagues, because both our candidates and our colleagues are also our customers, and that really defines our focus as a business today. In order to do this, what is the real purpose of using data and focusing on candidate experience, and thus actually today's webinar? So the purpose is to try and display and communicate that ideally we should not get overwhelmed by or get lost in too much data by defining our priorities and trying to keep it as simple as possible. What is our focus? We are working to make things simpler and better, serving Britain's shoppers a little better every day. So our priority is to lay strong foundations for recruitment marketing. And in order to lay strong foundations, we had to really review all our process flows. We had to look into insights that we had available and insights that we could approve. And accordingly, then we needed a plan of action. In the review process, what did we do? So we started auditing our process flows and our tools. We started auditing our candidate journey via our website. Actually, to be honest, we started auditing our candidate journey from the first ad they see on any given platform. How are they clicking through? Are they being asked to register on that particular platform as well before they're being led to our website? Going all the way into our website, how many clicks does it take them to actually register and then end up applying for a job? We also looked into our ATS candidate journey. And accordingly, we also looked into our resourcing operations. How many emails are we sending out to our candidates? Are we talking to them over the phone or over email? There are many things that we really started looking into from end to end. And after that, we started identifying our gaps. And among those gaps, then we had to obviously prioritize because there are many things involved. There are many avenues, there are many channels involved. And with the scale that we operate on, it is not easy to make changes on a day-to-day basis. Keeping all of that in mind, we also had to make sure that our focus was on simplicity and that we did not end up overcomplicating things. So, what did we recognize? Our three main priorities. How we can improve our return on investment with accurate end-to-end analytics. So accurate end-to-end analytics obviously then mean that we had to make sure that from the starting point when a candidate clicks on an ad or when the candidate visits our website and starts their journey from the homepage till the time they actually either are put in for an interview, they register, they have a complete or incomplete application till the time they are in an interview or they're hired. Each and every process flow, all these process flows that are connected, interconnected, we needed to make sure that we had end-to-end data so that we could understand the journey our candidates have gone through and also our colleagues, to be honest. And then accordingly, take decisions that will really help us make sure that we are investing the right amount of money on the right channels that either are good for our conversion or they're good for our branding purposes. Our second main priority, we need to listen to our customers and provide the best possible service. And our customers, as I said before, are also our candidates. So in order to do so, we needed to start listening to our candidates better. And when you are dealing with insane numbers of applications coming through to your systems, it is very difficult to be able to lend a ear to each and every single candidate. But we tried to introduce a process flow, and we have been working on it for the last 1 year, and we will keep working on it for the next couple of years to come. I will detail you about the kind of candidate response we received. It was very positive, it was amazing, but it really helped us understand where we actually needed to focus our priorities as well. Our third main priority after the audit process, that we really needed to make our user journey and the processes convenient and efficient. Again, I would like to mention both for our candidates and for our colleagues. And this entire user journey that our candidates and colleagues take, how we can make sure that we can reduce time, make them more and more effective, and be able to collect data at the same amount of time for better decision making. I would now like to move. I would now like to hand over to Mary, our presenter.
Hi everyone, thanks so much Imad. So at this point we have got a poll, so we'd like to ask for your participation please. Just want to do a quick survey of the attendees on the webinar today. So the question we'd like to know the answer to is, which of the following data sets would you like to improve in 2016 in terms of your recruitment? So options are source information, cost per hire, agency versus direct, time to hire, or perhaps something else. So we're going to launch a quick poll now. If everybody could kind of just quickly vote, then we'll have a look at the results in a few moments' time. So just a few more moments to get your vote in, and then we will reveal the results. Almost everyone's voted, just a couple of people left, I believe. If you could vote, that would be fantastic. Okay, super stuff. So, results of the poll. Okay, interesting. So the top thing that people would like to improve on the data set is actually time to hire at 37%, followed by source information at 35%, followed by agency versus direct at 13%, and 6% say cost per hire. Actually, interestingly, 10% of voters have said other. So, Imad, I'll hand back to you.
It is really good to see all these results coming through, because before I start talking more around data and what it means for us, it's great to see that people have actually picked time to hire and source information as their top two priorities. It will be also wonderful to find out how time to hire is actually, or maybe cost to hire has, by most of the attendees, cost to hire has been looked after already. So that is why I guess time to hire has become a next priority. But for us, source information, accurate source information has always been the top priority since December 2014 onwards, when the project started. And today, I believe we are in an amazing position where we can sit down with all our suppliers, and we can sit down with all our colleagues, and we can sit down with all our top management and be able to attribute a value, a return next to each source. For our time to hire data as well, in terms of, in case of priorities at our end, our time to, that is something that we will be looking at definitely later down this year. So after the data and what it means for us, so what have we really seen up till now? Since November 2014, when we started this project, we've received across the board around over 5 million applications, 5.5 million to be precise. And with such number of applications coming through onto our systems, it was quite evident that we really needed to work on the quality of applicants, the quality of candidates, more than driving volume of applications towards each job. And when several million users are visiting your website and on a yearly basis that generate such big numbers of applications over the last 16 months, this was quite evident. What else did we notice was that every 4 of 5 people who were visiting our website were going straight to search and apply. What did that tell us? We had to also look into the fact that how can we make this process more convenient for our candidates to apply? Should we display, or is it okay to display too much information to the candidate about the company and before they reach the job description? Or what kind of route would we take after that? Because a lot of information, depending upon the candidate and the job they're looking for, might also be irrelevant. And should we also look into maybe ease of applying for multiple roles? Because a candidate can also make multiple applications on our system. So convenience became our priority. Then we started looking into our cost per source for obviously return on investment purposes. The cost per source, in order to make sure that everything is aligned, when we started looking at our data, we realized that almost 95% of the traffic coming into our website, careers website, was actually through organic means, through organic search. And a very minute percentage of that 95% was actually coming through referral through our other websites. So barely 5% of the traffic that we were receiving was through paid media. How, and if we were as a business investing a lot of money in each medium, on each platform, was it really driving the kind of value we needed, considering that we had such good numbers in terms of organic traffic? So this is something that we really needed to review. Our cost per hire, obviously. What platforms are good for conversion, and what platforms are good for branding? For conversion, is there a for the dedicated platform that we're looking at? How many credits do we need to buy, or do we need to buy a nice, well-branded profile, or does a banner work much better on that platform? So these are all the questions that keep arising from what we witness, what we see on our screens in terms of the data that we are collecting. What else did we learn? We also saw that traffic for stores was over 6 times higher than our head office jobs. So what did we need to do over here? As I said before, are we displaying a lot of irrelevant information to candidates who might not be interested in it and are only interested in searching and applying for a respective role? So that really made us think how we can start working on personalizing journey of our candidates. By personalizing the journey, we will only try our level best that when we reach that position, we only display content to candidates who are applying for stores roles are only able to see stores content. On the other hand, candidates who are interested in head office roles are able to see all head office related content. How were we able to also reach the conclusion about personalizing the journey was, as I mentioned before, and I will talk about later, through listening to our candidates and our customers. What was the next thing? Reducing unnecessary clicks and forms, convenience, and simplicity. Again, as I mentioned before, has been our prime focus. In that matter, because of that, we started also assessing how many clicks does it take for our candidates from our homepage to just reach the registration for our ATS. And then from the registration page, moving on all the way towards submission. How many forms were there? Was there good quality? Is there good quality parsing in place so that candidates can upload their CV or attach their LinkedIn profile and the fields get pre-populated easily so that it is more convenient for them? And after assessing many things, we saw that we really needed to improve our candidate journey in terms of reducing the number of clicks as well and the number of forms. The more convenient we make the process for our colleagues, the better it is for us to manage. Moving forward, we, since implementing Broadbean in June, July 2015, have also shared around 2,000 job polls on 19 different job boards that generated 30,000 clicks for us. Now, 19 job boards over here reflects, considering the fact that we were getting our priorities in order and we were working on improving our data for good attribution and return on investment. We worked with 19 separate niche boards and also with boards that like Universal Job Match. But it can be a very difficult task to actually sometimes go and share roles on the Universal Job Match website. But through Broadbean, we noticed that we were able to share our roles on all these niche boards and deliver them in a manner which was making the entire process flow for our colleagues as efficient as possible. We noticed that our colleagues were spending time with the monotonous task of copy-pasting each job description, for instance, onto the respective platform or job board, if you may call it. And they have to copy-paste it on each one of them. So there could be several tabs open on your browser at one given point of time, depending upon how many boards or platforms you use or what roles you recruit for. In order to make this process flow a lot more convenient, a lot more efficient, so that our colleagues were able to focus more on better customer services and better candidate services, we started with the implementation of Broadbean. And how does it feed into not only the efficiency factor, but how does it feed into the data? We noticed that through this implementation, we needed to improve our workflow and tracking between starting from Broadbean, which was posting our ads and generating clicks that were coming onto our website and our ATS. We needed to improve the workflow and the communication between the three parties. And it was fascinating to see that with a lot of collaboration and real effort, we were able to come to a solution where today we can have end-to-end analytics with as much accurate information possible. So what are we trying to do over here again? just as a quick reminder. We are trying to serve Britain's shoppers a little better every day. And how do we do that? And it's these small pieces of information, these small snippets, small pieces of information that really help us decide on what is best for our candidates, and not just because of this data-driven decision-making. We have also been able to make changes that affect positively towards our candidates and our colleagues, and are not just because we thought it would work. The kind of work that's in progress in terms of, again, quality, convenience, and service. We also experimented over a period of 6 months, embedding a culture and a day in the life of style videos, recruitment videos within our job description. And during this experimentation, we found out that we were getting amazing numbers of views on our recruitment video, which had already been existing for almost a year, but the traffic went sky high. And that by the end of our experiment, of our trial, we were able to also see that the number of applications, and by the way, the number of quality and relevant applications went up by 1/3, which for us was a massive achievement. And hence, it has really helped us get more buy-ins with various departments across the company and across the business in order to start investing in more video content. And as of last year, 55% of the people engaged over the internet today are engaging with videos amongst all media. Convenience, again. So with almost a split of 50-50% desktop to mobile ratio, we had to look at facts like, was our website mobile friendly, mobile responsive? Yes, our website is mobile responsive, which is wonderful. But does the candidate get the best mobile experience? Does the candidate, after registering for a particular job, during the application process, what kind of an experience do they go through on their mobile? What kind of improvements do we need? And again, I will go back to my previous point of removing those numbers of clicks, extra number of clicks, and extra forms, and improving our parsing technology so that we can pre-populate accurate and right information onto the respective fields, has been one of our focal points. And in order to improve our service, our candidate satisfaction surveys added a lot of value. We have, as a business, have been doing candidate satisfaction surveys over the last few years, but we introduced a constant loop of information, of surveys, and of data. We have ongoing surveys. We have surveys that now go out to candidates that were successful or unsuccessful. And we also do surveys on quarterly basis. What does it do really? One, it helps us benchmark. It gives us data to benchmark the level of service that we are providing to our candidates. And two, it really helps us get valuable insight on what our candidates really want. Does the information on our website reflect what they want? Is our process flow convenient enough for them. What kind of content would they like to see on our website? What platforms do they search for jobs? There are many things that we can actually find out from our candidates, which will make our lives much easier. And that's what we did. So today, we have a stream of survey responses pouring into the business that really provide us a guide rail alongside the data we collect in terms of providing the best possible service. What does it all do by the end of it in terms of best possible service? What we're trying to achieve here again is to convert our unsuccessful candidates into brand advocates. We provide the best possible service so that even our unsuccessful candidates can go out in the market and they can talk about Tesco. So what's next for us? A bespoke strategy for each function and region that aligns with our employer value proposition. We would like a strategy that aligns with our employee value proposition. Just to expand on that a little bit. Legal and technology have different personalities, but Tesco as a business has an umbrella brand. How can we give that unique voice, that unique personality to each department, to each part of business, while making sure that it all aligns with our value proposition as a business, as Tesco, as the umbrella brand? It's a big piece of work that we will be working on, and again, it will be data-driven. We would like to implement learnings and keep reiterating as per customer needs and trends. As I mentioned, about the number of clicks, about introducing conveniences, and about simplifying our processes. Which brings me to the third point: simplify where possible, given our resources, given our priorities, and obviously in terms of what candidates want. And by the end of it all, we would love to personalize our user journey and content for every candidate who visits our website. Now, with several million users visiting our website every year, this could be a major task, and it is. But we personally feel confident that we will be able to achieve that, again, through the kind of data and the kind of candidate responses, feedback that we are receiving. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. Some of the data that I was able to share with you today. I really hope it helps start conversations for all listeners in their respective companies, and that it really helps them get an idea that data can actually be split into small bits and treated in a very simple manner, depending upon your business priorities, depending upon obviously your company, your business priorities, and the resources that you have in hand. Now I would like to hand over to our presenter, Mary.
Hi everyone, thank you so much, Imad, for a fascinating presentation. I really liked what you said around personalizing content and the journey for candidates, and I think that is so crucial in a world where everything is personalized and people expect personalization. Okay, so now we've got about 20 minutes or so for a Q&A session. So just a reminder to listeners that you can pose your questions at the right-hand side of your screen using the chat facility. and we'll try and get through as many as we can. So I'd actually like to kick off, Imad, with a question from me. You mentioned on the penultimate slide there that next steps for Tesco, you're looking at a bespoke content strategy for each function and each region to align with EBP. And you said that will be data-driven. So I'd like to know, what sort of data will you be measuring to get those insights and take action?
The data that we will be looking that we would be looking at is starting from our website, really. So what kind of content? So the first thing, one of the first few things that we found out through our candidate satisfaction survey was that candidates preferred and used our careers website as the first point of application, where they actually came to our website themselves, looked for a job themselves. And that kind of also makes sense, considering that 95% of our traffic is coming through organic means. So people visit our website. Now, so we asked them, what kind of content you would like to see? Now we look at their journey, things that they click upon while using our website, and accordingly checking out that what pieces of information or what kind of media is actually being preferred by our candidates, by our users who are using the stores page and the pages and the sections of our website, and candidates and users who are accessing the head office pages of our website. So what content are they engaging with the most? That is one piece of data that we started looking at. Then, in terms of identifying a bespoke strategy moving forward, we have been working with a lot of our colleagues as well in order to identify what do they really like about working at Tesco, and trying to identify those personas and attribute data and attribute numbers next to each different attitudes displayed by some of our best colleagues. When we get percentages out of these different attitudes displayed, what we do is that it really helps us identify, let's say, the top 5 content buckets that we should be working on for that respective department. For some departments, we found out that work-life balance was the first priority for candidates who were looking into jobs for that respective area. And for some benefits, for some learning and development opportunities were the top priority. So it kind of depends. And we started attributing a value next to each and every one of them, really. So that's how we are trying to build a bespoke content strategy that is driven through data and through candidate feedback.
Okay, that's great. Right, so we've got some questions that have come in from listeners, so we'll get through as many as we can. Imad, Claire is asking, what is your response rate to candidate satisfaction surveys, and do people get tired of giving survey feedback?
A brilliant question. In terms of response rates, it depends really. Because if you look at email response rates, if you look at response rates that are coming through our email signatures, for instance, those will be very high. Why? Because only people who click on our email signatures to give the survey will then end up completing the survey. But if we're sending out an email specially to a list to a specific set of candidates who've been processed through us, then our email open rates are different, our response rates are different depending upon, we've experimented on different time of the day. We've also experimenting sending reminders on a Sunday afternoon. And we noticed that actually on average we were getting response rates of around 8-9% of completed responses that went up to a good 21, 22% by just sending them reminders on weekends in the afternoon. And so these are the kind of response rates we played with. One. Two, we make sure that we spend an extra hour or two or an extra day or two and do bother our candidates who have already given this survey. So we actually make sure that these surveys then do not go out to the same candidates who've actually attempted the survey before. And that data is kept split. So that really helps us manage our audience and basically make sure that there is no duplication which ends up causing any kind of annoyance for our candidates as well.
Okay. And do you think that if a candidate is unsuccessful, doesn't get the job, do you think that influences how they answer to the satisfaction survey?
Brilliant question, actually, again. Why? Because I personally believe so, but my believing so does not really make anything concrete till I really see the difference. So this is one of the small trials and experiments I'm currently running. And basically, I have started splitting our successful and unsuccessful candidates in two different sets and sending out the same survey to them both, and then trying to compare if there is a difference in the kind of responses that we get from successful set of candidates and unsuccessful set of candidates. Up till now, there is not a major difference that I have noticed, but what I can say is that right now it's at a very early stage, and hopefully in the next few months' time later down through this year, through 2016, I will be in a much better place to be able to say that we've done these number of surveys, and this is the kind of difference in responses from successful and unsuccessful candidates. So yeah, currently we are splitting the both of them and trying to gauge if there is any difference.
Okay. And Elaine would like to know, do you survey internal applicants for jobs as well as external candidates?
Internal applicants for jobs, internal applicants, we haven't reached that stage yet in terms of candidate satisfaction for internal opportunities, but internally we are working as a team. So just alongside the candidate survey, as I said, we are trying to make things better for our colleagues as well. So we also started another stream of surveys, which is only for our hiring managers. So we are able to gauge the performance that our team, the service that our team is providing to all our hiring managers across the business. And that has really helped us improve our communication internally and our service internally as well, and which obviously improving communication means that it is closing down the gaps that were there between resourcing operations and hiring managers.
Okay. Lucy would like to know, what is the current time to hire at Tesco?
I would love to be able to give a particular time to hire here, but unfortunately, because of the scale we recruit on, it is impossible to actually attribute a number to time to hire, because we are recruiting starting from customer assistants to opticians and going all the way to solution architects and developers in technology to legal and finance gurus. So it all depends on each function, each job category and function and business area. So there is no one time to hire formula that we can implement in our company. But obviously, because, and to be honest, up till now, return on investment has been our main focus and priority over the last good part of 14 to 16 months. So time to hire will come down, and we will later down this year, and we will definitely be focusing more on it. But what I understand right now is that we will never be able to come to that one point of time to hire, because there are certain roles that can take really long. Just to give you an example, I recently also learned that there are only a handful of institutions across the UK who qualify you as an optician, and you cannot practice as an optician in the UK without having a UK-based qualification. So that makes it a very niche and small market. So that is why, while getting customer assistance and while getting people in marketing and while getting merchandisers and buyers is a lot quicker and is a lot more efficient, quicker process, convenient process in comparison to certain other given areas. So yeah, unfortunately not at this time, but soon I guess there will be different time to hire pockets that we will be able to calculate.
Okay. And Jane would like to know, what is the balance you hope to strike between volume and quality of applicants, given the huge number of applicants that you receive?
In terms of quality, to be honest, what I can say in terms of quality, how we can work on quality is our content, is our communication. So we really need to make sure that we have the right kind of content strategy for each function, each business area, so that they know whom their potential candidates are, how they need to convince them, how they need to attract them, and then how they need to convert them into an application. And to be honest, that is the only and the best way that we can currently be able to make sure that we're getting the quality candidates through to the system. One. Two, another thing is that we are planning to, and for the last 1 year, as I mentioned, we worked with 19 different boards. So we are working to plug in different niche and specialist boards onto our Broadbean and that is driving applications onto our ATS, so that these boards will then send more relevant traffic towards us than just volume. And that is one of the things that has proven to be very successful over the last year. There have been boards that we only trialed for a short period of time, but we were able to also attribute hires next to them. And that was only because we had access to quality inventory, limited but niche, but quality inventory. So I would say again, and word, at the same amount of time, there were many different other platforms which promised quality and drove amazing volumes, but we did not really see the data at the back end in those conversions, the quality of conversions. So, but since they were driving amazing volume of traffic, we still would like to work with them in the future for branding purposes, because they have good outreach to the kind of candidates to get our message out, to get our comms out, and to be able to inspire people to come and join Tesco.
Okay, super. And Nori would like to know, how are you tracking retention rates?
Retention rates, tracking retention rates, currently it is something that it is on our list, but it is not really our priority right now, or at least mine. I know there are other teams across Tesco who are working on this day and night, but as of right now, since, as I mentioned, I've been more focused on improving our analytics and our end-to-end tracking and return on investment and simplification of the application process and the quality of service. Retention, has not been on my radar for the last year and is actually down the list for hopefully later this year. But I know that there are other teams who are recording this data and who are working on this data. Now, as soon as I reach retention rates on my list, my obviously first thought would be, how do I connect all of this with the candidate database and with all the information, application information that we have on the back end on my side, and be then able to, in the long run, have accurate data in terms of, for example, also be able to say that platform ABC gets the candidates with the best retention rates or not. But all of this information will come down the line, and I hope I could have given you a better answer for that one.
Okay, super. And Imad, we've just got time for one more question, which is coming from Nori, and she would like to know, how is diversity monitored in your systems, and can you monitor diversity?
Yes, we have been improving. We have been working on improving our data, diversity data as well, our inclusion data as well. And it is predominantly our applicant tracking systems, or our ATS, which is helping us do so. So it is actually a part of the application process. And like any other place, it is on the candidate to provide us that information or not provide us that information. So that is one part of the application process that we have, which gives us good amount of data in terms of candidates and applicants. And then later on down the line, obviously, there are other teams across the business when we have talent onboarding us who obviously then record data as well.
Okay, good stuff. Okay, well, thank you so much, Imad, for that. Really appreciate it. Just a reminder that we'll be sending the recorded version of the webinar out to everybody tomorrow, so please do look out for that. It will also include the presentation slides. We've had a few questions come through. People have been asking when they're going to be getting the slides, so we'll send that out to all attendees as well. Once again, thank you all very much for taking the time to join us today. Thank you to Imad and to Broadbean. If you do have any feedback on the webinar you've heard today, please do contact us either on Twitter @ChangeBoard, or please do drop us an email through our website. Okay, so that concludes the session today, and we look forward to seeing you on another ChangeBoard webinar very soon. Have a very